You spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Scott, what are you doing? Where are you? Hey, I have to tell you something.
What?
Today's a really big day. Do you know what show number this is?
No, I don't know.
52. Do you know what that means?
No. Oh, 1 year.
1 year.
Julie goes.
We're not going to math. It's our 1 year show. Can you believe that?
Julie walked across and she goes, she knows I'm not good with math. And she goes, 1 year. I was like, oh.
I love that, Julie. If you don't know Julie is, that's Scott's wife. And she's always alley-ooping. Is that a word, alley-ooping? There I go.
No, I think it is an alley-oop. It's or a softball, since we're a sports show sponsored by Bank of Blue Valley. And we're drinking all the time, as our guests have figured out that it's not always drinks, but it started out that way. But we're a sports show, you know.
I am absolutely drinking today in my Kansas City cup. I've got a couple things to talk to you about really quick. We've had an exciting, incredibly exciting week. Today, for the first time ever, we are broadcasting live to our Drinks with Leaders page.
I mean, that has to be huge because it's hard to find. So I love our audience members. So when they comment, we'll shout them out. It's probably the usual suspects, but that's huge. And it's a compliment to Aaron Folk and to Lillian James and everything that you've done and the brand you've built, because we're some of the first in Kansas City to do it.
Look, Matt said, hey, friends, congrats on your podiversary. Oh, I like that. Podiversary.
He's got to get his podcast going.
Oh, congrats. Oh, look. Well, we're just going to stay here all day. I'm not even sure we're going to get to our guest. I'm just totally joking. I wanted to bring up one thing, too, because you and I actually had a disagreement. I don't even know if you know this. So we have been putting more content over on our page. And I think that's why LinkedIn decided to let us go live. And I ran a Forbes study. I read a Forbes study the other day that said people actually, like 63% of people identified having a Google internship as more prestigious and important now than a Harvard degree. And so we asked our followers, which one do you think is more prestigious? And you said Harvard degree, and I said Google internship. And I was really excited to see what our audience thought. And do you know what happened?
What?
It was 50-50 is what we got after all our votes. It was split right down the middle. So I wanted to ask our audience today, Google internship or Harvard degree being more important to your career now? Which one would you rather have? Let us know over here, because 50% and 50%. I was so excited to beat you out, and then I didn't.
Well, I think it's a debate we should have on the show. But before that, Bank of Blue Valley, who we got to have our meeting with Sean and Felicia, and that's not Sean's voice, despite what we thought. It sounds
Scott was like, I love your voice on our meeting. And he was like, it's not my voice.
It's not, yeah. And so Sean and I are going to do golf, and you and Felicia and Wendy Reynolds, the CEO of Bank of Blue Valley, sound like you're going to do a happy hour.
You can do happy hour.
We're going to meet and get together. But I will say the one thing that makes this really sweet is doing a full year is a lot of people don't realize having 4 guests, but it makes it pretty darn cool when you got a really cool partner like Bank of Blue Valley. And so obviously Aaron and I can't say enough things, not just because they're the sponsor of the show, but they are partners and friends. And we've gotten a chance to really learn the work they're doing, not just in the Kansas City metro, but what they do throughout the country. The Business Journal, who we also love, just named them as one of the top 5 best banks in Kansas City. And so it doesn't seem like work when you truly are just having fun. And it's because of great guests that we're about to have on the show that we get to mess with and have a good time with and learn about their businesses that makes it so great. And
real quick, we played the commercial just a second ago, but they are running a really awesome home equity loan special. So go check that out. And I'm just going to be really transparent here. I just actually took one out to put a pool in my backyard. I posted about not being able to get a pool, and the power of LinkedIn, I'm getting a pool, breaking ground May 1st. And Bank of Blue Valley hooked me up. So if you are thinking about doing anything to your house, I want to encourage you to reach out to them, because I worked with Lori over there, and she was amazing, like so amazing. And she even told me which robot to use to clean my pool. So she's been amazing during this. Okay, let's say hi to some people, and then we'll bring everyone in. Real quick, Janae said, "You're the bee's knees. Congrats. Thank you, Janae. Thanks for always showing up." Matt was on our show a couple weeks ago. He's going to get that podcast going, guys. And then we will ask our guests about Harvard or Google internship, and then we'll show all your answers during that point. So tell us, Harvard or Google internship, Harvard degree or Google internship, which one would you rather have? Scott, are you ready with music?
Can I break a rule? And I don't think there's going to be the words yet, so we may not get in trouble, that it will pick up the song. What do you think?
If you get us in trouble, Scott Havens.
Let's do it.
All right. Play your song.
Ready? Let's bend the rules a little. Let's go.
It's our 1 year. Maybe they'll
Yeah, we should definitely do it. All right.
Okay. Just waiting on you. Yeah. What a 1 year song. We're going to go ladies first. Our first guest today is Miss Tracey. Hi, Tracey. And this is Rob, and he brought water, but he's still here to party. Right before his workout, which he told me he's doing right after this is going to get his energy going, is Michael. And last but certainly not least, you probably listen to his podcast. You probably follow him on social media. It's kind of a big deal. Oh, Wilson Phillips, Scott. I love it.
So Aaron has like 30, 40,000 followers when you combine everything for LinkedIn and Facebook. And so we actually get in trouble on this show because it's well known enough that if you play music, so I hope Wilson Phillips, hold on for one more day. We give credit to them so we don't get sued.
Not our music. We do not own the rights of this music. I think that's what you're supposed to say.
That's exactly what I should have said.
I felt like I owned it.
And we don't, and we don't have any money to pay if they come after us. So we'll say that.
Well, welcome. We are so excited to have you all join us. Again, say hello. Tell us if you're watching us live from LinkedIn or Facebook. We are streaming from our Drinks with Leaders Facebook, our Drinks with Leaders LinkedIn, and still streaming from my Aaron Folk Facebook, but we're going to move everything over to Drinks with Leaders. We are so excited for you to meet this panel. We've not been this excited about a panel in a long time. So let's get started. Tracey, who are you? What do you do? And you're going to have to tell us how you come to Kansas City as soon as they hear that accent.
But you said I've got 5 minutes. Tracey DeMarea. I'm the proud executive director of the Johnson County Bar Association. So we're a 501c6, kind of similar to the Chambers of Commerce. We're a voluntary bar association. So if we need an attorney to back us up on the "We've Stolen the Wilson Phillips" song, I know about 1,300 of them. So we've got 1,300 attorney and judiciary members. And our aim is to provide member benefits. So we do a lot of networking events, socials, in person, bar luncheons. We do a lot of educational events. We've got a magazine, bi-monthly magazine that we produce. So yeah, we're a 501c6. How did I get here? Well, I met my husband at a wedding in Denver several years ago, and he is from here. So I moved here because that was easier. Long distance relationship is expensive. So I moved here.
But that's not a Denver accent.
No, England, southwest England, about 3.5 hours outside of London, little town called Dawlish on the southwest coast. Beautiful, kind of like where you would go if you were English and you needed a vacation, you'd kind of go down to the southwest coast. So I left that and came to Kansas. Yeah.
How did you end up in Denver, though?
I knew someone who was getting married there, and so it was a big wedding. And actually, scoot on 2 weeks ago, so I've been married 15 years, 14 years. Been here about 15 years. I took my citizenship 2 weeks ago, my citizenship test.
So you lived in England when you went to that wedding, and that's where you went.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's interesting that high schoolers can't pass that test like most of us. Like I don't think I could. It's a hard test, so congratulations on that. How did you find the bar association? Because you meant that was 15 years ago. The wedding in Denver. So where do we go from there?
Sounds like a good wedding.
Yeah. Oh, we've not got enough time. No, so Andy, my husband is from here. He actually is an attorney. I started working here for an amazing charity called Turning Point, 89th and State Line, and for 4 years, and I planned their events and did the development work. And I happened to meet the most brilliant Perry Brandt, who's an attorney with Brian Cave. And he said, I know there's a job going for you and I want you to come for it at the Kansas City Metropolitan Bar. So I moved there for 4 years. And then the lady that ran the Johnson County Bar retired after 30 years. And so I was really fortunate to just be in the right place at the right time. So I've come here.
Wow, I hear amazing things about Perry Brandt. I've actually never met him, but my friend
he's awesome.
Joyce Lehman loves him. And sounds like a great community leader, always helping others.
Yeah, big deal. And he's a great character. His wife is just gorgeous, behind every great man. But he's a great guy. So it would be worth getting him on the show. He's awesome.
And Maddie says, "Hi, Tracey. Congrats."
Thanks, Maddie.
All right. Well, welcome, Tracey. Rob, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get here?
Hey, I'm Rob Didlake with Dataedge. I'm the founder and CEO. Dataedge started in '99 down in Wichita. So I moved up here to Kansas City in 2003. Moved to Kansas City because I'm a big Chiefs fan. Also, there's a lot more opportunity in Kansas City. It's easier to fly than Wichita. I remember back in the day, I used to fly or drive up to Kansas City to fly to another city, and it got to be kind of old. So I thought, move my family up here. My kids were young, 3 and 1. So I wanted to get them here before they started grade school, right? And so what we do at Dataedge, we're an IT company. And one thing about IT, I've been doing this for a long time, like 30 plus years. I was an engineer, used to carry a toolkit. So I used to be, the guy that fixed things. And so when I started the company, I wanted to do something a little different. So we focused on one thing, and that was data protection. One thing that drives people nuts is if you lose data, right? If you took a bunch of pictures, and we may all have done this, and you lose those pictures because you started putting them on digital instead of, we had the paper copies, I mean, I've had people call me, I lost my pictures. Well, you should have backed it up. You can't help you unless you do the proactive steps. So anyway, moved here in 2003. I really like Kansas City. There's lots of good people, lots of good opportunities. It's easy to fly, take care of clients all over the United States. We really focus around business continuity. The security is very, very important nowadays with cybersecurity and ransomware. So a lot of our clients today, they're like, thank goodness we've got a solution from Dataedge, because even during the pandemic, we restored a lot of our clients because they had a good backup solution that they actually tested. That's one thing that a lot of people don't do. Scott.
Hi, Rob. Question. Speaking of banks, like Bank of Blue Valley, how do you land your first deal in maybe 30, 45 seconds, because you relied on a bank to help you figure out the solution for your client? So how did that get started, especially for those that are worried about, jumping and making the leap to start their own business?
Sure. So this is back in '99. I closed a great big deal. It was for a big company. The PO was like for, say, $300,000. And as a startup, you don't have $300 worth of credit, right? So my wife was a hygienist, and I called her up and said, honey, we need to eat lunch today. And I never called her for lunch because hygienists can't take lunches. They have to do their thing. So she's like all freaked out. So I said, hey, honey, I've got this PO. See, we're going to have to go to the bank and get a second mortgage on our house. And she goes, oh, crap. I mean, why? Because I need the credit. So we did that, and I did the deal, paid the second mortgage back, and now I had credit with my distributors. So then I could just keep growing the business from there. So it was a little risky, but I knew it. I knew I could do it.
I like it.
With great partners, that's what you can do. Congratulations. And now it's gone to an absolutely amazing business. And now I talk about you when you're not around, because you're the only person I know that literally monetizes every interaction you do on a daily basis in your ecosystem. And so I think that's something that a lot of people can learn from as business owners, is learning from the different revenue streams that that you drive to your core business. Congratulations.
Are you charging us today to be on our show?
I don't think we should. Yeah, he's gonna charge. We're charging in coffee beans.
No,
Thank you, Scott.
That brand protection. I'm sorry, I was just going to say that brand protection is real. I know, like, when I was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, first starting out my business, I got ransomwared, and someone ransomed all of my data. So all my images, all my docs, it went through my Dropbox. That was a shared drive, you know, all of my backups at that time got corrupted as well. It was like a huge nightmare. You know, honestly, I felt like quitting at the time. So that stuff is very, very serious. And yeah, you're in a good business.
Yeah, you can feel your heart. Even when my customers lose it, I mean, I get sick to my stomach because I like, oh my gosh, I hope this works. But, you know, we practice. It's like taking a test or, you know, studying before a test. And you walk in, we've all come into, you know, our classroom and the teacher says pop quiz. And you get that feeling like, oh crap, I didn't study. Well, that's a little bit how you feel when somebody's got control of all your data or you lost it, you know, or they got ransomware or whatever. It's a sick feeling. So I like to help people.
I just watched this special on Hulu, and I wish I could remember what it is, but it's this tiny little blonde lady that goes and investigates random things. And did you actually know that in Jamaica, that bigger than drug dealing or anything like that is trying to get into people's accounts and take all their money. And so you go downtown and there's these huge office buildings and 4 or 5 floors will be rented out by a company, but really it'll just be people making calls to get enough information just to be able to break into your stuff. And it's become a bigger business than drugs in Jamaica. And it was so fascinating. I'm gonna have to try to remember the name of that, but it's a special over on Hulu, a documentary special. And I had no idea. Now, I did drop my phone three weeks ago and I didn't have anything backed up. So I did learn that lesson. Where were you, Rob? Why didn't you come on this show before that?
I know. Scott, I just met Scott, so.
He's here now.
Well, thank you for joining us. Michael, who are you? What do you do and how do you get here?
Hey, everybody. Good to be here. So I'm Michael Gansman. I'm the president of a company named Mastermind Advisory Services, and I'll get to what he does in a minute. But the more fun story is how I got here, because the quippy answer is a moving truck and a car, but that was a long time ago because I graduated Purdue University with my electrical engineering degree. And in this area, there's a small engineering company in Overland Park, kind of College of Lamar, named Black and Veatch. You've probably never heard of them, but they recruited me. So I came out here, and it wasn't too long after that I figured out I'm not an engineer. So today I say that I'm a recovering engineer to this day. So fun practice there. But I've been a consultant to many industries for over 30 years. And I've been blessed to work with big companies and small companies. And I really was drawn to working with the small clientele that I had or been employed by a small employer. So COVID, I pivoted and formed my own business consulting company focused on small to medium-sized private business owners, really kind of 25 million and below, to help them with the growth side of things. Because I've been more focused on growth, from vision, strategy, and creating an actionable sales plan and giving them processes so they can actually follow them to make those incremental improvements with their sales and their revenue growth. So it's cool, it's fun. And I really figured out I was so diverse across the nation, I wanted to be local and get deeper in the overall Kansas City and Johnson County marketplace, because after all this time, I figured out I wasn't deep enough here. So I made kind of 2 big pivots with COVID.
I love that.
First of all, Brandon, that you call yourself a recovering engineer. And I love that you tell small companies 25 million or under.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then, Michael, for you, you also work with growing not only companies on the consulting side, but helping create mastermind CEO groups yourself that you run. And so what's your favorite part about bringing together people from total different walks of life and then having them get together to talk about their businesses? What makes you excited? And also, what's the benefit for the business owners that are out there that currently don't have a group to go to like yours?
Yeah, great question. And that's one thing I love. I've always been a collaborative type business professional, bringing people together. And I just say that, hey, I get a bunch of smart business owners in the room and I just guide the conversation and let them do some magic, which that's kind of a foundational piece. And a great thing that's a kumbaya after they're together 2 or 3 times, because we meet on a monthly basis, they figure out that no matter what they're doing as a business, whether they're IT or digital marketing or financial planning or engineering, they've got the same problems.
Yep.
So they really can rely on each other for that experience and expertise they've already garnered to help them avoid pitfalls and mistakes. So that's a lot of fun when you bring them together and they can do some magic.
That's funny. Andrew and I have talked for a couple of years now about starting our own mastermind, just because we go for drinks and realize we have all the same problems, right? So all kind of full circle. Well, thank you for coming on. We are super excited to have you here. Andrew, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Well, my name is Andrew Morgans. I'm the founder of Marknology. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Honestly, I've got probably 7 or 8 businesses. Most of them are businesses that Marknology has acquired that I'm now running. Marknology is an Amazon brand accelerator. So we actually touch a little bit of law. We touch a little bit of data protection, brand protection, and we do a little bit of business consulting. It's just all based around the Amazon space. So we became an Amazon agency partner January of 2020 in their first pilot program. So it's a very new space, but essentially brands and businesses that sell a product need to be on Amazon for the most part, or are on Amazon, at least to protect their brand and make sure no one else is like muddying the water, so to speak. So have a lot of fun with that. Without getting too much into that, just think if you've ever bought anything on Amazon and found it, like someone has to put it up there. Someone has to make it look good. Someone has to be running the advertising, and that's what we do. So we're a small team, 15 here in KC. We're going on year 7, I think, in August. August will be year 7. So still young and having some fun. But how did I get here? Well, that's a story in itself. I was born in Montreal, raised in Africa till I was about 16. Spent 3.5 years in Hawaii, started university there, finished out here at Park. Joined a touring band at the time, actually. Like I was trying to find freedom in that way, and then realized, no, I just wanted to make money to find freedom in that way. So I went to school at Park, got out with a computer science degree. And similar to recovering engineer, I hated IT. I hated carrying around, networking and security and just waiting for stuff to break and then going in and fixing it. I was more of a builder than a fixer, I guess, and wanted to create things. So I moved into e-commerce about 9 years ago, and I've been in KC ever since.
Andrew, so I get the impression you do a lot of podcasts and interviews. So do you have a podcast? And secondly, I have so many questions for you, but what are your relationships with podcasts? Do you have one? And then I want to know the most common questions people come to you with when they want to get their product on Amazon, because I'm assuming there's a couple common questions.
Okay. So yes, I have a podcast. Thank you for asking. Startup Hustle. I release an episode every Tuesday. I'm the e-commerce Amazon host on Startup Hustle. There's 4 hosts on that show, so I'm not the only one, but I cover all things e-commerce, Amazon, entrepreneurship. Not everything's e-commerce, but for the most part, that's expertise. As far as brands coming to us with Amazon, there's so many questions. A lot of them are just like he said, she said type of information, out there, what people don't know, what they don't know kind of thing. So for the most part, I would say it's a toss up between, do you know of any good products I can sell on Amazon? Right. Like the brands always want to know if I can give them a honey pot, so they're asking me that. The other one would be, I feel like they're all fear-based, and I hate saying that, but I feel like most brands are just very fearful about the platform. And so they're like, is Amazon going to steal my brand, or is it too late to come to Amazon? Probably one of those 3 would be top.
Yeah, it's interesting about the fear question with Amazon. I never encouraged any of my friends to sell their business unless they're ready. But I did have a friend in the fulfillment center business, which was a little worrisome because eventually I feel like Amazon could get to the point where they may not want to acquire someone because they don't need to. So interesting you would say that, but you can tell just from the interaction that you run an amazing podcast because of how well you can interact and tie things together. My last question before Aaron gets in a question is, what's your favorite thing of comparing notes with Aaron Folk?
Oh, man. Comparing notes with Aaron Folk. Well, a lot of it is just venting sessions for both of us. We do a lot on our own, isolated, running marketing companies that are very similar. I think the reason we've become friends is because we're in a similar space but parallel. Like, what she's doing, she's not doing on Amazon, but we have kind of the same brands that are all trying to do the same thing. So, I get to talk about that agency space, running one, trying to scale it, the services kind of stuff. And it's about, we get to talk about people and connections and, how things are going. Very similar to earlier when he was saying that he wanted to make a presence in Kansas City. I guess my business grew on a site called Upwork or Elance, if anyone has ever hired anyone off of there. And I had a lot of clients nationally or even internationally way before I ever got any clients in Kansas City. And I wanted to know some errands. I wanted to meet some people in the space. I wanted to meet entrepreneurs instead of just doing everything digital or, through email or Zoom type of calls. And so around 2017, I think I got my first Kansas City client, and I purposefully made a push to start speaking and meeting people and networking. And it wasn't long before I met Erin because, she's everywhere. So, we just linked up, and we're both kind of, we are who we are as people. And I'm very attracted to that. And we've been friends ever since.
We actually met at an influencer event, and it was the same Scott. It was the same night that I met Ezzy, and I made two of my best friends at that event, being Andrew and Ezzy. And it was a great event back in 2017. But they say you have to be crazy to run a marketing agency. So Andrew and I both fit that mold.
We're both here. We're still here. So
we're still here. We're still kicking it.
Kind of like Matt Moylan. I've always wanted him to do a podcast on interviewing podcasters. I still think a peer group should exist of Kansas City influencers where people get together on a quarterly or monthly basis and just take a photo. I do think it has legs. You guys should do it because it would work, in my opinion. So get that influencer event going again. It will work.
Taking notes.
Write it down. Okay, well, I want to circle back around to something. Thank you, Andrew, for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. Real quick, I want to say hello to Michael. Michael, fix your privacy settings so we can see your picture. And Kira, hello. Let us know if you are here watching. What we want to do is we want to talk real quick about a quick win, just a couple minutes that you've had this past year. This is our 1-year show, and this year has been crazy for all of us. And there's been a lot of loss, but there have been wins, and we've realized people from the show really love wins. So I want to know, what is your win that you've had this past year during this pandemic, this crazy freaking year? How about you, Tracey?
I've got two. Yeah. Okay. Well, because really quick. So, when we went into the old 24-hour, 7 days a week, several weeks lockdown.
Yeah.
I'm still married. We were both here. I'm telling you right now, that is huge. No, don't underestimate that. That's huge. That's like a Usain Bolt win right there. That's like a Jack Joyner Kersey in my day win right there. That's a big. So I'm still married happily, even spending so much time with him. I think my biggest win, looking back at this year, is that when I know Aaron hates the pivoting. So pirouetting, when we pirouetted to go online, this bar focuses on a lot of in-person events. The foundation is on the bar luncheons, the socials, everybody meeting, networking, getting together, swapping information. So that scared me. I mean, I can keep the educational events going, but what are you doing socially? How are you connecting people? And we've got, like I said, about 1,300 members, and I'm very grateful that they join every year. It became apparent that they're not just a member of this bar. They are completely invested in this bar. They want this bar to work. They care about this bar, and they all stepped up. And anything that I tried, that we did, they were in it. They were going for it. They turned up. We've reached young lawyers that I probably wouldn't see at some of the other events because we've got some more seasoned, mature lawyers. So my win is that I am humbled by the membership and their involvement and their investment and their support in everything and anything that we've done. So that's probably my win and my marriage.
That's awesome.
I want to take notes. I want people to take notes, and I'm going to take these notes, that instead of saying older, you said seasoned and more mature. That is a great way to not make people mad. And also, my marriage did not survive, so kudos to you. But absolutely love that.
Sorry about
Tricia,
that.
one quick thing. I would assume that your population likes a lot of the virtual. So that's had to be a big win for you to realize that you don't have to do everything in person in years to come, because you have so many highly educated and productive members that every minute, Monday through Friday, is very valuable to them.
And especially young lawyers. Yeah, especially, because they're putting in their hours. They've got their billable hours and they've got to achieve them. They can't pop out down the road half an hour, pop to the DoubleTree for an hour luncheon to network and then go back to the desk again. No. And going forward, it's not an or, it's an and. I'll be doing, hopefully when we get back to in-person events, and I'm going to continue with virtual events. So to be forced to try something, so I hadn't Zoomed before. So I hadn't, it's so incredibly fortunate to have this opportunity to force me to try something so different and so radical in so many different ways. No, going forward, I'm going to continue with it, as well as all of the in-person, let's all get back together again with a glass of wine events. Yeah.
You're going to have the happy hours with attorneys.
A lot of happy hours, a lot of the bar luncheons. We see about 250 people a month come and see those with different speakers. And that's, and so going virtually online, that was scary, but they've been here. They still turn up. Yeah.
I saw Michael's eyes light up there. He's like, oh, there's a lot of people running their own business for mastermind groups.
Yeah. The predominantly membership is solo small firms for us. I mean, we've even got the larger firms downtown, Kansas City, Missouri, have got the big Pulse Lillies, Levy Craig, etc. We've got solo small firms. We've got a lot of under the million people that Michael, the money,
Under 25 million.
A lot of money.
Business, 25 million. Rob, what has been a win for you?
Also, staying married. My wife being a hygienist, as said earlier, I walked out into the kitchen. I was like, who is this lady on my couch? Because usually there's nobody here but me a lot of times when I'm working from home. But one of the big wins is we had just when COVID started, about a year before, we designed this hyper-converged infrastructure for this transportation company. And when COVID hit, they pretty much laid off, a lot of people, because transportation was way down, right? Including a lot of their technology people. And as soon as they did that, a month later, they got hit by ransomware. It locked up all their businesses. And what was cool about it is when we design solutions, we like to do them in a way that it's really easy to manage. And so through that process, because of the solution we designed for them, we remoted in with the junior level tech person that was left and showed them how to recover their business with a few clicks of a button. And this happened within an hour and 15 minutes. And it's just because of all that homework we did up front. You have to be proactive, anything, so that you can react. And so because we did that homework, it was a huge win. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys are like awesome, but that made me feel good. You work hard, play hard, and then when you have to really exercise and you make somebody happy, they feel like, man, that was, I spent a little more money than I should have, but wow, it worked. So that makes me feel good. So that was a huge win for me.
That is awesome. Oh gosh, I bet they better send you like chocolates or something. That sounds amazing. An hour and 15 minutes after you think you lose your business. That's impressive. Yeah. Michael, what has been your biggest win?
Well, on the personal side, I can say through COVID, I'm still single. That was a victory or not, but why not? On the business side, though, successfully launching a company in the middle of a pandemic, because I launched last August, and it's been fun. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but very rewarding already, with a lot of new clients that are on board, which is really great. So I've helped one of them I was thinking of really improve their operations, and they juiced their profitability by an extra 6% by just fine-tuning some operations. So there's a couple of things, a big picture, then a drill down the business side of things.
Love that.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on what?
Specifically, Michael, with that, just for food for thought, not that client, but if we're talking generalities, what are some of the things from a process improvement? Because literally, as an engineer, you can do everything from helping folks select vendors, but literally to dig down into why they do what they do. So what are some quick wins that you thought were interesting you didn't think you would find, but ended up helping some of your clients?
You know, one of us that I'm thinking of, a quick win, they had been in business for a number of years and they never really had a strategic plan or a sales plan. They didn't really know where they were going to go to get business. And I just said, okay, time out. Let's do a SWOT analysis. What are you good at? Okay, what's your best target client? Let's go identify those and go after more clients. We're still tracking sales results, so I can't articulate the benefits, but it's growing. One of the process improvements, they scaled their company people-wise, but didn't change their internal processes. So I recognized a few needs and gave some tips. Then I brought in a serious process improvement specialist that partners with me and changed the way their electronic paper trail moved to make them more efficient. So that's why their end result was 6%. So it wasn't all me, it was a partnership approach that worked.
But that kind of echoes Rob, didn't it? It's all about just taking a moment to be proactive and think, what is it that where am I going to go and why and what am I doing? And I know that's very basic. And I know we all think that and we all wake up in the morning thinking we're going to do that. But then we spend 8-9 hours firefighting and go to bed and think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. So the proactiveness is really apparent. And it's making me think that it's really something that, do you know what I mean, as well with your health and your well-being? It's really something that you've got to take so seriously and put time and effort and investment into, because both of those two, but that's very clear that that's what we should be doing.
Tracey, you're exactly right. And that's one of the key premises of the CEO Mastermind groups that I run, because business owners, they get so stuck working in their business and they don't mean to, but they do kind of get trapped because they're firefighting, like you say, and they started out with a great idea, but they can get lost. They need to pull out once a month and work on their business. So that way they can achieve those bigger picture things and keep them on point so they can achieve that vision they want to achieve.
When I went through Scale Up, which a lot of our guests have been on Scale Up before, the entire Scale Up, I pretty much feel like, was work on your business, not in your business. And that was any speaker they had come that had a lot of success. It was work on your business. You had to take that time. So you think once a month?
Once a month is a good balance, because that way, if you lay out the right plan and you do a gap analysis to find problems and challenges, and then once a month for a few hours a month working with, an advisor like myself and a mastermind group, that's a good amount. So that when you work on your business, you can take care of those big picture things, because you still got to run the business every day and make sales or product, or like Rob doing IT and other folks do legal or finance. You got to work in the business, but you need to pull out once a month to work on it. That way you can keep point with your strategic vision.
I love that. Andrew, what is a win that you had?
Well, I became a host on the Startup Hustle podcast. That happened in 2020 and really filled the gap of like a lot I was doing in person. So, the networking events and all that kind of thing. And I really missed it. So the podcast kind of filled that void of getting to connect with other owners and outside of just like sales meetings with Amazon. Like, I'm in the e-commerce space in Amazon. So I'm very blessed to have been in this space during a pandemic. We were there as a lifeline for brands. We exploded some brands. Like I don't even want to name the numbers here. It'll sound braggadocious, but for some brands, they exploded. Some brands, we kept them alive. Some brands, we were able to be their pivot machine, to help them get onto Amazon or get into e-commerce when they hadn't been there before. So we actually even had employees that had COVID. So just thankful that, we still have everybody. We've even acquired a few more great employees during COVID. We had one person move from Denver to join the team. So my blessings are just across the board, honestly, like from just being in this space. On a personal level, I guess, just more time being less busy. I put a lot of that back into work. I'm not going to lie, because a lot of my hobbies were taken away and I'm not married. So it was like, well, I enjoy work. Let's just get into it, but it was a lot of on the business type stuff. I just came out of an accelerator at Babson College with the 10K SB with Goldman Sachs, and kind of took my learnings and put them into play. And it was just a lot of scale up, focus on the business. And so we set up reporting automation across different sides of what we're doing for our account managers. I organize my finances, like hours and hours and hours of work sometimes to get those things really tidied up. So yeah, this year has just been a year of scaling and getting prepared for what's next. There's e-commerce is like wide open, and so it's honestly just getting set up for that growth and being ready to go. And one thing I wanted to say, I'm sorry, just to Tracey, was like, if you ever, I've been looking for some lawyers that want to learn, like a lunch and learn or something, but there's this whole new area of Amazon law that is being touched by some lawyers and not by a whole bunch of others. It's a whole new area of law. Entire firms have grown to 100 lawyers in that amount of time. Like I've worked with them. I've been in the space. I've seen them explode. I've seen them grow. So if there's any firms, small firms, big firms that are looking for new areas of revenue or anything like that, there's all kinds of brands around e-commerce in the Amazon space that need help, whether it's getting patents, whether it's trademarks, whether it's Amazon brand registry, whether it's counterfeit, whether it's talking to Amazon. I've actually gone into what's the word? Is it litigation? Is it what's the word I'm looking for?
When they're in court?
I basically I took Amazon to court essentially in one.
Okay.
So, I paid lawyers. I took a gamble, spent about $6,000 to do it. But I was betting on a brand that I believed wasn't at fault, and we were able to prove it. And Amazon lifted suspensions and some of these nightmares you hear about. It's really just about having somebody on your side that knows what's going on. And so I'm still looking for that team that's going to be my team to go to. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you're looking for something fun and new that maybe some young lawyers are interested in, let me know.
Definitely. Yeah. And after they've all got Scott out of prison for playing music that he shouldn't be, coming to you, Andrew.
Got it.
So
Wilson Phillips
I'll be the troublemaker.
So Andrew, I think it's a huge win because I think both you and I I referred your Denver person, but neither one of you, either you or I would have looked at her if it had been normal world, right?
Correct.
And she's a wonderful employee. So that's been a great win. And then you're also a little bit in the real estate space. And
Yes,
you've been over there too. This is a good time to be in the space.
We Marknology grew by a lot and continue to grow. The brands within our company are growing. A big part of it was not so much that we just gained a whole bunch of new business. It was that we didn't lose the business we had. We were there for them. We kept them healthy. I see that as the biggest win. A lot of people were tight with their money books and not taking big leaps during the pandemic year. But we were able to keep our businesses, even when they closed all their brick and mortars or closed everything up. We were able to keep their Amazon or their e-commerce channels open and ultimately kept their businesses open. It felt like we were first responders in some ways, and we took that very seriously. And it was something for us to focus on as well as we're going through all this stuff ourselves, right? Mental health and, we're focusing on something important and keeping small businesses and big businesses alike going. I missed the original question because I got excited about that, but
you're fine.
I don't even know what the original question was either.
Yeah, I just said you have a bunch of Airbnbs that you actually have been growing.
Yeah, actually, we have we have a property management business with about 100 properties and about 25 Airbnbs here in the Kansas City area, and really had to be creative in the way that we switched, because travel locked up and all those things. We didn't lose revenue a single month this year by just being able to either open our place up to people that needed quarantine places or people that were now doing staycations or people that were having family members fly back and needed places to quarantine. So we got really creative, and Airbnb was a company that worked hand in hand and helping come up with those types of solutions. But we're having a lot of fun in real estate. That's my Amazon backup, so to speak. If everything on Amazon goes away, the agency world's hard, right, Aaron? And they say it's the hardest thing to scale an agency. So as we've grown, I've just kind of taken that digital side of e-commerce and knowing that things are booked online, whether it's photography or reviews or SEO, and put it into the real estate side.
I love it. Yeah, you've been.
It's about that time. I got my watch.
She's here. Are you ready?
She's not here.
This is where we get the cheesiest on the show. She's here.
Santa?
It's pretty much Santa.
It is.
All right. So we have a question, and I kind of talked to all of our guests about this before. In this question, she is going to refer to your past, but you can also refer to your present.
Okay.
So you guys go however you want with this, but I love this question. Tracey, we're going to start with you. Miss Wendy Reynolds is here. Here we go.
What is the most innovative service or product you've worked on at a previous employer?
Ooh, I like her necklace. Yeah. Do you know what it's now? It's a present one, and it's something that I've just started work on, but now I'm going to kind of look to Aaron to help me with it. And I didn't know this, but a few months ago, I came across the fact that there are, I don't know, call it a software tool, whatever, that actually is a calendar that you can program your social media marketing in. So I can pop on there on a Monday and plan all my social media marketing and what I'm going to say and when and who and which program and which event I'm going to advertise and why, on which platform, on which day, at which time. And I can kind of do it in an hour and then sit back and it does it. And I'm sure everybody else found this like months ago, and I've just got there, but you need to just bear with me because I've just got there and it's amazing. So there's these calendar things out there. And I know Aaron's going to help me more because she's going to start helping the bar a little bit with this, but it's amazing. Because otherwise you wake up every morning and think, I've got to advertise the event. It's at noon. Okay, I'll get a coffee. I'll do it in a minute. But so then I can focus. And so that's my innovative new finding and way of working.
I love it.
I don't think everybody knows.
I do some work with some associations, and the goal is to drive revenue back to the association so then you can help your members with values that you're providing. Kind of sounds like Lily and James should be doing this for a lot of the members and then charging a percentage of it back to the association to drive revenue to what you do to create more value for the members.
We might have chatted.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
If you want to catch up there, Scott.
Validation. Thank you so much.
I'll try to catch up.
We might have just got a partnership approved by the board.
But I had found the social media calendar just before Aaron, and actually through a couple of attorneys.
Building a pool.
Yeah. I'm coming to the opening.
You're coming to my pool parties. Rob, what is the most innovative thing you've ever? It sounds like you're super innovative. So tell us what your most innovative thing has been.
I was thinking of one that is very common today, but back in 2001, 2002, remote backup. Nobody was doing remote backup back then. So we went out to like rural hospitals and they were using tapes, and that was their offsite backup. So what we did for them is, how about you can get rid of that tape drive, and over T1 lines, which you don't hear about anymore, we could move the data over to a data center in Wichita. And so we did that for a lot of rural hospitals and companies that wanted to get rid of tape. And so, over the years, it's kind of gotten a little better. You hear it all the time now, but back then it's like, you can move it over the T1 line. I don't have to mess with tapes anymore. So that was kind of cool. It's no big deal now, but back then it was pretty cool.
That's what I said. You've probably worked on so many innovative things, right? That now become all every day, but you forget that we weren't doing all this stuff back then. If we would have gone through a pandemic in the 90s, we all would have been a lot more lonely.
Rob, I think you're innovative is you have your ecosystem, but you play a role in each of them. So I think a lot of us can learn that, you don't change anything you do on a daily basis. You still help people every single day. You've just figured out ways to monetize every interaction with partners so that everyone's winning, including yourself. And I think that's something that, in this economy that's virtual, that we can all learn a lot from.
Yep. We can all help each other, and that's what's important. There's plenty of business for everybody.
Michael, what is your most innovative thing you've ever worked on?
I picked out one and realized I've worked in a lot of industries that were tried and true that you don't think about, like electric utilities and municipal water and wastewater and public K-12, commercial office, kind of a buildings focus. And you don't think about those. When you can apply new technology to them and make them more efficient, that's pretty cool. One of them I did when I was leading something called the Smart Cities Initiative for a company. We work with cities, take all their building data, we put it up in the cloud, run analytics on it, predictive analytics, to show them where the problems are going to come about in a year or 2 years or 3 years based on all that physical equipment inside the building. So that was pretty cool. So look at something stodgy, tried and true, put new technology to it and show them where the revenue hits are going to come about.
Look, Andrew's excited right there. I can get excited on that. Andrew, have you ever worked on anything innovative?
Well, I think our bread and butter is being fast and innovative, and that's why we're, leading the space. I honestly believe we're trailblazing this space. And I guess the latest thing I've worked on, I'll say a funny story from before. There's a brand I worked with where they legitimately had a lady that worked there that sent out an order. They probably, had 2,000 to 3,000 orders a day, and she would send out emails to these customers to thank them for their purchase. And I got hired and I was talking to them, just evaluating their processes. And I saw that they still had a lady doing that. And I was like, we're going to blow her mind. And, we automated what she did in a matter of seconds. And she, they just put her to work somewhere else. But there's little things that you can do when you just know and they don't know. And you're just like, let me show you how to do this. You're going to get your life back. In that way, your work life back. But something fun, something new, something recent is I've been spending honestly 3 years trying to get to this space because Amazon protects data very strongly. And so it's just like the space has to innovate together for us to get access to these kinds of things. But now that I'm part of the Amazon partnership and I'm doing betas with them all the time and testing out their different releases and things like that, what I wanted to build for my account team was the ability for them to very easily tell the story of what's happening on a brand's account. And so I built software that plugs into Amazon's backend API and pulls out the advertising data, the store data, and puts it in an interactive dynamic type of dashboard. So things like return rate, things like what keywords are the best keywords for our product right now, things like profitability, things like, what are our top 10 selling SKUs, which ones are out of stock, what kind of issues are we having like that. My team used to have to spend hours building these either at the end of the month or for a specific call for a client. And now it's, it's getting emailed out or you can log in dynamically and see it. So I'm having some fun with that and giving some time back to my team, which they get to spend more time doing the fun stuff instead of the report building.
Right. I like that. Scott, do you have an answer to that innovative?
No, not really, other than hanging out with innovative people. But are you giving me a softball or an alley-oop because you want to talk about something innovative you've done?
No, I wasn't. I was just wondering because I think that the way that you build out your peer groups doesn't seem like it would be innovative, but I think you've done amazing with that. So I was thinking that you should say that.
Well, super simplistic. Don't charge, bring really talented people together and put in a lot of work. So it's not necessarily something I would encourage people to do unless they have amazing business partners. Like Aaron is a business partner of mine, my wife, Julie, and then my business partner that I work with every single day. Her name's Melissa Oliva, and she allows me to do everything that I do. So I partner with people, and then I also refer a lot of people to Michael's groups as well, where, getting into the weeds and truly focusing on a mastermind, where the groups that I do are mainly more of kind of like I don't want to say a who's who, but it's just, fun, exciting people. Just like our panelists today that were all on the show, you are all popular, you're well known, you're well respected in the business community. So if you create a happening where people got to be somewhere to understand what's going on, but it's not financially lucrative. I mean, there's other ways that we need to monetize our time. So, building these brands and reputations takes years, but eventually there's a way that, as I've alluded to with Rob, you do it for 30 years or you do it for 10 years. Eventually there's a way to do it, and kind of like what Tracey's doing with innovating with you and Aaron together with what you're doing. So I'm talking way too much, and I realize we got 6 minutes. I want to know what you want to do the rest of the show.
I got plans for the next 6 minutes. Are you ready?
I agree. Yeah.
I want to say, David said, what a great group today. Thanks for bringing this August group together. I think he means awesome, but I'm going to call you guys our August group. With that. And then speaking of bringing groups together, Andrew, Matt's going to help us. We've been talking
Cool. Let's do it. I just can't run it.
First party is your pool.
It'll be an influencer party.
I'll run it.
All right. So here's the thing. We kind of alluded to this at the beginning of the show, the Forbes study that showed that more people, I think theirs was 63% of people, said that a Google internship would be more important to them, they believe, in their career than a Harvard degree. We had a couple people jump on here. Lindsay said it depends what field you're going into. Jessica's the one that's been helping us book the show, said Harvard.
Thank you, Jessica.
Scott says Harvard. I say Google internship. What I want to do for our icebreaker, because Scott loves a good icebreaker. He usually asks you where your first date was or something like that. Today, I want our icebreaker, because we do it at the end, like every good innovative show would. I want to ask if you think that a Google internship or a Harvard degree would be more important to a career advancement and why. And Tracey, let's start with you.
So pleased it's not first date. I mean,
Cool as a wedding in Denver with your husband.
I had no dates. I had no dates before that ever, Scott. To my career right now, or to anybody and everybody's?
Which one do you just think is more coveted at this point?
That's really hard because both have got both. I'm sure. That's. I'm leaning towards Google just because I think it would be more fun.
That doesn't count.
I'm sorry.
Fun doesn't count. We're career advancement.
I know which one you're going.
It just depends. I don't know how you compare. It really.
Which one do you?
Do you know what I'm going to go with? You know what I'm going to go with Google because I'm going to decide that if I was going for a job and the person was judging me because I didn't have a Harvard degree, I don't want to work for that person anyway. So I'm a Google.
I love it.
I'm a Google.
Much that I'm actually going to do something really quick. Are you ready?
You're going to give me a prize? No.
Well, I'm going to do something here that I hadn't planned on doing. But Scott, are you ready?
He's got a bucket of something goo above his head. Is something going to kind of come down?
Are you ready for this? I'm trying to figure out how you do it. But essentially, oh, here we go. I figured it out. Are you guys ready? One for Aaron.
All right, Rob, we got to go. We got 30 minutes.
I think it's Google. And the reason I say Google is as I go through life, you went to college and you got that degree, but as you move forward, you have to learn something every day. And I think I like people that self-study. And so I'm going to say Google. I think that's.
Thank you, Rob. What about you, Michael?
I say Google. Great to have life experience, and you start with a foundation. You can take it anywhere you want to go. So I would go Google.
3 for Aaron. All right, Andrew.
Harvard.
Google internship or Harvard degree?
Harvard. I feel like it's besides it's like a regular institution. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I feel like to get into Harvard, to finish a degree there says a lot about a person, that they could go into any job. And if they have that kind of dedication and ability to pass those level of classes, that I think they can succeed wherever. And I would love to have someone from Harvard working at my company. So I'm going to go Harvard just to make Scott feel a little bit better.
Oh, it's a good one. So let me go with what I would rather do is the same answer as Tracey. And so this is going to be a little bit of a knock on Harvard. But does anyone know the #1 way to make money in the world?
Networking.
It's to already have money.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so if you are in Harvard, if we watch the Aunt Becky from Full House documentary on Netflix, it's to have money. So if you're going to Harvard, you don't need to work for a living. We all hear the story of, people from phenomenal backgrounds that are incredibly brilliant in their ability to get in. That is true. But the vast majority is generational wealth. So in theory, if you went to Harvard, you don't need to work for a living. You can be retired because you come for money. So that's my smack against some Harvard grads. But a Google internship to me shows that you have talent, you're innovative, you're creative, you're brilliant, you're smart, you're everything that we all want to be, but you're not born with a bunch of money to have forever. And, that's, that you didn't win the DNA genetic lottery. So that's my reason why I said Harvard. Right. I would much rather have an internship at Google, though.
Well, I will tell you, we posted something on this page last week that said that your network is more important than a college degree. And it had over 100,000 reach on that post.
Wow.
So I imagine a lot of people definitely agree with us. Scott and Andrew, you guys still lost. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Google is very, very
we don't
high.
know. We agree with it, but I don't know. It's a tough question.
It is a tough question. Thank you guys so much for coming on this show. We truly appreciate it. Thank you so much to Bank of Blue Valley, and thank you so much to everybody tuning in. We are so happy to be with you for 1 year. Thanks for sticking it out with us for 1 year. We will see you next time. Same place, same time, right here. Have a wonderful and productive week. See you later.